Imagine somebody actually stopped the world so that I could enjoy some time at home. Who would have thought? Just 8 weeks ago, running here, there, everywhere, and then all of a sudden, I had the opportunity to turn all of that off. And how did I do that? I was asked to stay at home. During that time, what I've been able to do is I have been able to reflect on a lot of different things that have happened throughout my life. And it's really fun to reminisce and talk to your family and friends about some of those certain things and how things just pop in your mind that you never would have thought of. Has that ever happened to you? Well, it's happened to me lately. One of the things that I remember is back in the early 60s, not to age myself, but in school, we used to have different kinds of drills. One of them was we'd hear this sound, and we'd all run out in the hallway, sit down against the wall, put our knees up, and then put our heads down. We were practicing an air raid. Who would have thought? An air raid? Why are we doing that? Who knows? Then, next thing you know, we're doing fire drills. We're going outside. Why? Who knows? So those are things that happened to me back in the early 60s. And then I reflect and I look at some of the things that are happening today in the schools where they're doing different types of drills, such as active shooters or different things. So the times have changed, but the messages are still there. And what is that message? The message is that you have to prepare, and you always have to be ready for when things happen. It reminds me also back in the early 70s, around 1970, I was planning a trip to Philmont Scout Ranch, which is in Cimarron, New Mexico. And in order to do that, we had to practice for about a year prior to us leaving to go to Philmont. I haven't thought about that in quite a while, but recently, one of our other Toastmasters, Jen, shared a couple of her YouTube videos that she had been doing. One of them showed her walking down by Devil's Hole in the Niagara Falls area, down into the gorge. And it brought back the memory of back in 1968, 69, we were practicing to go to Philmont with our full backpack, and we would hike the trail all the way down. And I haven't walked that path in many, many years. When I saw the video that Jen had put up on YouTube, it brought back that great memory that I hadn't thought about in many, many years. One of the other memories that I recollect and think about with all of what's happening today was during the blizzard of 1977. At the time, I worked at Tops Market in Niagara Falls on Portage Road, and the storm was just about hitting. I had just recently been married in September of the year prior, and I was on my way home, and I got stuck in the snow with my car. The car remained right where it was, and I walked the rest of the way home. I had it parked on the street, about 2 blocks from where I had lived. At the time, we lived in a small apartment and on the 2nd floor. Who would have thought that once the snow and everything had happened, that the 2nd floor, when you looked out the window, would almost look like it was the 1st floor because of the snowbanks. It was quite an interesting time, and I reflect back on that because of the fact that, what did I learn from that? I learned that when you're cloistered in the house and you can't really do a lot, things happen. Matter of fact, in December of that year, my oldest daughter was born. She was a blizzard baby. What I think about now, as I reflect forward, with everyone being quarantined, and it was mentioned earlier, are there going to be quarantine babies? I find that to be a little bit difficult because if I remember when I was in school, the anatomy classes, I don't believe social distancing actually would help with there being a baby boom shortly thereafter, this particular pandemic that we're facing. So, but you never know. One of the other things that I really have enjoyed about my time being at home is that I reflect back when I was a young child playing in the neighborhood, and everyone would be outside playing, and then mom would say, come on in, it's time for dinner. And we would sit down to dinner every day as a family. And if you weren't there for dinner, there had to be a good reason. In the last 6 to 7 weeks, we have been eating dinner as a family. We've been talking about different things that have happened within our lives. And we're not using our phones to text that to each other. So in full circle, when you're looking and thinking about what is happening in today's world, I look at it with a positive note, saying that if we take what we learned from when we were younger through today and reflect, this is a good time for everyone to get back with their families, back with their families, and that family value of work is not the most important thing. It does put food on the table, but if you've noticed, if you haven't been working in the last few weeks, you still have food on the table. To the point of, I have actually gained my COVID-19, and it's in pounds. So who would have thought that this was actually a positive note that has helped me reflect on my past and also on my future? Mr. Toastmaster.